right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Running with Wolves. Today, we are going to talk all about the 2024 digital marketing trend predictions that we have for this year. Now, before we get into the trend predictions, something I want to talk really quickly about is the importance of having an actual digital marketing strategy rather than just relying on like trends or kind of jumping on the bandwagon essentially of what other people are doing in order to create visibility, sales for your business, all that good stuff. So if you are somebody who is kind of just getting started with your online digital marketing strategy, you want to remember what we call our Wolf framework, which is having content that attracts, warms, and converts your target audience. Typically, a lot of people, when they come to us, they are people who don't necessarily have like an actual strategy. It's people who a lot of times are just creating a lot of little pieces of content that don't actually do anything for their sales. Maybe they've had a couple TikToks go viral, or maybe they had a LinkedIn post that performed really well, but there's no actual funnel to take people from discovering your brand or your business online to then being warmed up by your brand or your business, really becoming like raving fans of your brand or your business, and then actually buying from you. So you want to make sure that you have content that attracts in those people every single day who are your target audience, meaning you need to predictably go viral. And then after you have that attraction content, once they're in your world, you want to have content that shows them who you and your brand are, your products or your services, familiarizes them with why you are better than your competitors, positions you as that authority and that expert in their mind and in your industry, so that again, they become, we call them brand piranhas. They're like just raving fans of your brand. And then you have that conversion content where we really focus heavily on solution selling, meaning you're selling your product or your service as a unique solution to their problems or their desires. You also have objection handling content, social proof, and you're really selling to the buyer types. Now, if you don't know how to do all of those things, we have a ton of other podcast episodes that'll help you kind of put that strategy together. But I wanted to emphasize the fact that you can't just, I would say, like hop on a trend basically and say, oh, I'm just going to use AI, or oh, I'm just going to go viral, or I'm just going to use chatbots and like an automated funnel and expect for sales to happen through your digital marketing. It just doesn't really work that way, unfortunately. So establish that marketing strategy, that digital marketing strategy that attracts, warms, and converts. And then once you really nail down what it is that you need to say to your audience in each of those phases to get them to buy from you, that's when we can think through all these kind of new digital marketing trends, how they could fit into your strategy, and if you should or should not use them. So with that being said, I also want to mention, before we jump into the trends, how important it is to really stay on top of digital marketing trends, and also make sure that you're being really flexible in your marketing. A lot of other people I know, business owners, brand owners, tend to find a strategy that works and then they just auger in on it, right? That's all they use, that's all they focus on. And the problem with that is that marketing and sales and the landscape of how you do those things, how you create visibility, how you convert people into a sale, is ever shifting and changing. Marketing principles and sales principles and frameworks, i.e. going and creating visibility, converting people into sales, engaging and warming your audience. That's never going to change. Buyer behavior changes. Sales psychology isn't ever really going to change. So those things you can understand as principles and frameworks, but how you go about doing that is always going to shift and change with the marketing landscape. For example, in terms of building visibility, 10 years ago, you should be doing Facebook ads. That's immediately what everybody was jumping onto, right? When it came to creating visibility, you pay to play. Now, even 5 years ago, 3 years ago, it was Instagram Reels that were creating a shit ton of visibility. Now it's shifted to TikTok, right? After TikTok, it's going to shift to something else. Everything phases out eventually. So it's really important, while you still have the same marketing and sales principles and frameworks, to really stay on top of how to do those things and how the marketing and sales landscape is shifting and changing, and shift with it, or else you're going to get left in the dust 110%. So with that being said, let's jump into some of the trends that I've really been seeing kind of come about in the marketing and sales landscape, how things are shifting and changing in terms of strategies, and I would say like the pros and cons to each of them, and whether or not you should be implementing them into your strategy. All right. So first things first, we are going to talk about AI-powered marketing. Now, we're in a phase of life and of our world in general where everyone and their mother is talking about AI. Everyone and their mother thinks it is the most wonderful thing that has ever been gifted to the human race. And I think that there are exciting things about AI. I also think there are big drawbacks to using AI within your marketing. I think that it can definitely create a lot of shortcuts for you in a great way. It can make things far more efficient when it comes to your marketing. But if used incorrectly, I think it can also massively affect your conversion rate. And so we're going to talk about that right now. So the pros to AI is that it can really significantly cut down on your content creation time. There are AI softwares and systems now that will brainstorm content ideas for you, that will write your content for you if you give them the right prompts, that will edit your videos for you. We already had, automatic posting and scheduling features, obviously. So you can really, if you wanted to, you could automate every single part of your content creation process. The problem with that is that you lose, I would say, the relational and the human aspect of your brand or your business. And something that we have very much seen in the last year, especially on TikTok, is that people are not looking for content that feels like marketing. They want real, raw, authentic marketing that they can see the human elements of, the relational elements of within your campaigns or your content ideas. It's why brands like Duolingo perform so well on TikTok. It's why airlines that have Gen Z running their TikTok accounts are performing so well. Their sales are up, their engagement is up. Like, their marketing has never done better, and they're not spending as many ad dollars or marketing dollars to make that happen, right? Because we're humanizing these brands or these businesses. So here's my take on AI-powered marketing. I will say that if you want to use it to help you dig into data and analytics, if you give AI like a series of analytics, and you tell it what to look for to give you themes, or any trends that it's seeing within your analytics that you can then take and interpret into a marketing strategy, I think that's really powerful. I think you should obviously be looking at it and giving it a once over after that as well. But I think that's really powerful. I think brainstorming content ideas is really powerful with AI. I think the other thing too is, if you're able to have a marketing topic that's already performed really well for you, and you ask it, like, come up with 4 different examples, or metaphors that I can use to talk about this topic in my content, other than this, right? It'll brainstorm ideas for you, no questions asked. Where I don't think you should use AI is to actually write your content for you, to use sales funnels, to have sales conversations for you. We'll get into chatbots in just a second. But I think you lose that human element. And the other concern is that there is a ton of intellectual property and copyright issues that come with AI. So imagine I and another marketer are using an AI software to write our content, which, by the way, I would never do that. But if we were, let's say, in a different world, and we both plugged in the same information. We had the same target audience, same buyer types, same problems and desires, very similar offer, very similar desires. If we plugged all that in and said, write a piece of content for me, do you think it would probably be almost the exact same piece of content, if not the same? If we gave it the same prompts? Absolutely. So then you not only blend in with your competitors, there is no element of that makes you stand out. Yes, you made things easier on yourself, but at what cost? It's going to hurt your conversion because you're not going to stand out from your competitors, and you're not going to create brand piranhas out of your followers. But on top of that, if that other marketer saw my content, they'd be like, what the fuck? You copied my content. I'd be like, no, I didn't. AI wrote it, right? But it becomes this argument of, well, it's my content because it's on my profile, but I didn't write it. We both plugged that same information in. So in my opinion, it's just best to really steer clear of any AI writing your content, of it really doing like the bulk of the work for you when it comes to content creation. Where I think it's really useful is in brainstorming content ideas, analyzing data, editing your content for you, your video content for you, right? Any of those things. And then obviously posting for you, all that good stuff. I think anything where you would hire like, I don't know, a virtual assistant to do those things really easily for you at a low cost, you can absolutely use AI to do those smaller things for you. But when it comes to your actual content that is designed to attract, warm, and convert your audience, you 110% need to be doing that content creation, or else you lose that human element. So that's my take on AI powered marketing. Again, I think there's pros and cons, but I don't think we can ever fully automate it like some people will argue, because I just don't think it's really ever going to give us the result that we're looking for in the way that we need it to give it to us, if that makes sense. All right, so moving on to the next trend. This one's a little polarizing. So I'm really actually curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So if you're watching this like on any form of social media, I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. So pop them in the comments below. And that is voice search optimization. So it's essentially, if you're on your iPhone, right, and you ask Siri a question and they pull up data, like here's what I found on a web search, right? And they pull up your brand, your business, your industry with those keyword searches. So in terms of utilizing that, you can optimize your SEO and your marketing for Alexa, Siri, any voice search tool to pull up your brand or your business easier. There are pros to this, obviously, which is it allows your business to be found easier, creates more visibility for you, obviously creates more website traffic. It's like Google ranking, right? If you were to physically search on a computer something that you were looking for, then obviously your brand or your business would pop up if you had the right SEO. So in terms of optimizing your marketing for this, I think that there are definite pros. Do I think it's the be all end all in terms of your brand or your business being found? No, absolutely not. Because there are other platforms, obviously, that you can be utilizing and posting on organically to get your brand or your business found, i.e. TikTok, Pinterest, Google, all that good stuff, right? And you are optimizing that content in terms of SEO, keywords, all that good stuff. I think it will still create the same result. My concern with this is there are a lot, like, I don't know how I feel about this, you guys. There's a lot of privacy issues here. Like, okay, I'm sure this has happened to every single one of us. You're talking about something with your friends or your family or whoever you're talking to, your phone's in your back pocket. You open up TikTok an hour later and whatever you were talking about is on your For You page, right? Because it listens to us and it stores that data. And I mean, it's the same thing with a Google search, right? If you're like scrolling through Google or something and you're looking for something else, it retargets you for what you were just talking about. That's happened to me on so many different websites, and it genuinely kind of freaks me out a little bit. And so I feel like for privacy reasons, I would not back this trend, honestly, in terms of SEO, because I guess for me, there's a key difference between me consciously and willingly searching for something and then you getting retargeting ads for that. Like if I went to Google and I was looking for, like, I'm redecorating my house right now, right? Lounge chairs or something like that, right? Like I was on some website the other day and I was looking for like lounge chairs for our backyard. And if I'm Googling that and then I go on to Pinterest or another website or something and I get a retargeting ad for lounge chairs, that's different because I consciously went and searched for that. And it was my decision, basically knowing that I would probably get those retargeting ads. However, if I'm just talking about something with somebody and I go onto Google or Target or TikTok or any of those things onto their website or their app, and I'm getting retargeting ads for something that I did not consciously go ask for, like it takes that, I feel like that freedom and that element and that control for the consumer out of it. I don't know. I just feel like to me it feels slightly unethical. I mean, I know it's technically not, but it's just a weird trend, honestly. And I feel like I can't back it. So my take on that is to really make sure that you're optimizing your keywords and your SEO, to make sure that if someone goes and consciously searches for a marketing expert or a sales expert, my content's going to pop up first, but they're actually looking for it. I'm not slipping that in somewhere where it's like, oh, you talked about needing some marketing strategy help. Here you go. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of weird. So that's my thought on that trend, but it is something that I'm noticing happening more and more, and it's an interesting concept, that's for sure. All right, next, let's talk about chatbots. So obviously we were just talking about AI, we were just talking about automating our funnels. Guys, oh my freaking word. I literally cannot handle these chatbots. It was so funny. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were talking about how they were having a normal conversation with somebody on Instagram DMs, and the person said something funny and they responded back like stop in all caps, because they were like, stop, that's so funny, and didn't realize the other person had like a chatbot like attached to their conversations, and it was like, you've now been like unsubscribed from this conversation. And she was like, what the fuck? It was so weird. So something that I would love to remind you guys is that there are pros and cons to each of these trends, right? How you use them, when you use them, depends on your marketing strategy, your sales strategy, where your business is at, where your audience is at, right? It could be a great fit for you, or it could be a terrible fit for you. Let's talk about the pros first, because otherwise I'm just going to rant. Pros to this is that it streamlines your sales process in terms of chatbots, your sales conversations, so you do not have to manually have them. Does that mean that your conversion rate is going to stay the same if you automate your sales processes? Absolutely not. Just like if you automate your marketing and just have ads, your conversion rate is not going to be the same as if it were organically. Are you going to put in less effort? Absolutely. But again, at what cost? That's the question I always ask myself when it comes to any of these trends. Is it really worth it? Like, is the level of effort that I have to put in organically versus not have to put in an automated way, is it really worth the conversion rate difference that we're going to experience, i.e. the dollar amount difference that we're going to experience as a company, right? So the pros is that it streamlines the sales process so you don't have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. It's also, I would say, really good for people who already have a ton of followers, brand recognition, awareness, and alternative sales and marketing funnels. So like, for example, we actually don't have chatbots, automated funnels, literally nothing, and we are a multiple seven-figure company. In 2 years, could I see us implementing some sort of very minimal chatbot like ManyChats or something like that, that just asks and automates like the first couple of steps of our sales conversation, and then we take it from there and convert it? Absolutely, because... and the only reason why that would work is because we've dialed in our process so well that we know exactly what to say every step of the way in that sales conversation, and then can automate it. The big mistake that I feel like I see a lot of business owners make is they automate before they streamline their strategy, before they dial in their strategy. So a lot of times, this goes for ads as well. People automatically think if you throw money at something in terms of ads, obviously it's going to like convert better, perform better, etc. That's not actually the case, because if you have a shitty organic strategy and you don't know what converts your audience into sales, it doesn't matter how much visibility you create, it's still not going to convert, right? Same thing with your sales conversations. If you don't know how to actually convert and have a good sales conversation and be able to close really effortlessly, those chatbots are going to do jack shit for you. In fact, not only are you going to probably spend more time trying to re-engage sales conversations that you lost because of those chatbots, but on top of that, you're going to probably spend more time trying to like reconfigure your chatbots so that it creates more conversions, and you're going to lose out on sales. So you're going to try to get all of this effort and this work off of your plate in terms of sales conversations, but you're actually going to add to the work and the effort, and you're also going to lose out on sales if you're not in the right place. Again, if you already have your sales conversation dialed in, if your audience is super hot and like begging for your products or your services, and you just can't even like control the volume of sales conversations that you get every single day, again, right place, right time. It could be really helpful for you if you already have all of those things going for you. If you are a beginner business owner, let me repeat. if you are a beginner business owner, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Honestly, do not use these chatbots because it's going to be worse for you in the long run because you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. And you're going to have way more effort put on your plate trying to, again, reconfigure all of these different things. So last trend that we're going to talk about is influencer marketing. Now, this is obviously more so for our product-based businesses because most service-based businesses typically don't use like influencer marketing as a strategy. So the pros of this, and this will be a real quick one, is it does get your products out to a ton of new engaged followers. I think that if you can pick the right influencers as a brand, if you can see their data and their analytics and how engaged their audiences are, if you can see the ROI that other brands have gotten from those brand deals in terms of website traffic, in terms of, how many people actually purchase through that influencer, which you can track through coupon codes and things like that, affiliate links, right? If they have a good ROI in terms of how many of their followers are actually purchasing things that they are representing or influencing people to buy, then yeah, I think it's absolutely, a great strategy. Again, it's very much right time, right place. If you're a really small brand, unless you are somebody who is willing to give away a lot of free merchandise, this is going to not necessarily be a strategy that is going to be the be all end all for you in terms of conversions. For me, influencer marketing to product-based businesses is like service-based businesses running ads when they don't have a converting organic strategy. If you don't already, as a product-based business, have a organic converting strategy, adding in influencer marketing is not necessarily going to be like the thing that creates a lot of success in sales for you. I don't know if anyone else saw the whole like Michaela makeup influencer drama on TikTok that happened recently. There was like this self-tan brand that like kept sending her free products and she kept saying she would make videos to review it. And then she ended up not doing it. This person bought a bunch of merchandise to handle the demand. Long story short, like it was this whole big thing. But a lot of people were commenting saying like you cannot rely on influencers to create sales for your brand for you. You have to use your own organic content, which he absolutely did in terms of like all of this content because it was like super dramatic and people were buying from him because of the drama. So he used that organic marketing obviously to create sales for him. But a lot of people were saying like influencer marketing is not a strategy that you can rely on to consistently and sustainably create sales for you. It's like the cherry on top, essentially. And you have to have that converting strategy in place first before you can implement that because you can't rely on it, right? All right, guys, last thing is the marketing trend I will not be following in 2024 and why, which I've kind of already touched on in this episode. But the last thing I wanted to mention is that we are not going to be jumping on the bandwagon of chatbots or automated funnels. Like I said, we have literally built a multi-million-dollar business through organic content, marketing, sales conversations, and we've done it with honestly a pretty lean and mean team. And so we are extremely profitable as a business. And in my opinion, we've also built it in a way that really empowers our audience to buy. Like our content does 80 to 90% of the heavy lifting for us in terms of overall sales, to the point where people buy from us without even needing to talk to us, number one. But also number two, if they do need to have a small sales conversation with us, it is super effortless. Like it's very, I would say, empowering to the consumer because they feel excited about making that investment because of the content that's already gotten them there, and then the very minimal sales conversation that we are having. So I definitely do not feel like at this point we have such a massive demand that our sales team can't handle it because our content does all of the heavy lifting anyways. And like I said, in a couple of years, could we automate, those conversations slightly or those funnels? Yeah, absolutely. But if we don't need to right now, and it already has created this really great human first approach in terms of our marketing and our sales conversations, don't fix it if it's not broke, right? That's absolutely my theory. So maybe at a different phase of business, that's something that we implement, but that is not a trend that we are going to be hopping on this year. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I know that a lot of you guys have asked questions about 2024 marketing trends. So hopefully this was super informative. And if you guys have specific questions about other trends that you're seeing in this space, then pop them into the comments below and we'll chat soon. Bye guys.